Yo, what's up guys? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. And Thunder, thank you for once again allowing one of my videos to be presented here on this channel. It's still shocking in a good way to me, so thank you very, very much. And the title of today's discussion on the video is something that I feel needs to be talked about a little bit more because, well, as a matter of fact, Thunder himself actually mentioned this once on Twitter, talking about basically how Modern Warfare 2 Remastered is basically it'll get boring pretty quick. And you know how they say that history tends to repeat itself? Well, it's repeating itself again. Now, if you enjoy COD World War II, I am never going to say anything bad. I'm never going to say, I'm never going to say anything disrespectful towards you or anybody else that enjoys COD World War II. If you enjoy it, then good for you. Keep on having it. Have fun. Play it. But I think a lot of the community is starting to realize now, if not for a while now, that COD World War II was very disappointing. And I think we could all pretty much agree to a certain extent that hype itself, false hype, is what made that game successful, at least especially in the beginning and as well as in sales as well. And as we know, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered pretty much got leaked as of, a few days ago I think it was, and it started spreading all over YouTube and people started talking about it. They found it on an Italian Amazon. So basically, long story short, it's all but been confirmed at this point, and especially if it's true. I mean, even if it's not true, when Modern Warfare 2 Remastered ends up being a thing, whether it's going to be next month like the leak said, or whether it's going to be later on down the road, even if the game were to be patched, it's still not going to be as good, and it's still going to be somewhat of a disappointment to people, and I'll explain why in a bit. And I think it's safe to say that, again, going back to World War II, that was immensely hyped because, the stars were aligned. It was time to go back to boots on the ground. It was time to go from the future to the past. And long story short, people were extremely hyped about it. And to a sense to where we basically said to ourselves, well, there's no way they can mess this up. There's no way, the game's going to be stale. I mean, it's going to be boots on the ground. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And yet, an X amount of time later, people are starting to realize that, hey, the game is disappointing for the most part. So, again, no disrespect to those of you that like it and stuff like that. I can never, I can never disrespect somebody for liking something that I don't, or vice versa. So, and it's happening again with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. So the thing is, we're used to Call of Duty being a certain way. That's one of the reasons why we like the Treyarch games, because the Treyarch games get more right than they do wrong. And the thing is, there's also the reason why I'm posting this gameplay here. The reason why you guys are seeing Infinite Warfare gameplay is not because I want to torture you guys or anything, but I want to basically, in a sense, respectfully make a point. And that is that Infinite Warfare, I know it was not a lot of people's cup of tea, but the fact that that people were ready to go back to boots on the ground by the time Infinite Warfare came out, and as well as the fact that the game was hated way before it came out, it kind of caused the hate and the negativity towards the game itself to be amplified. And as a matter of fact, I will go as far as to say that I was one of those people. I was certainly one of those people, and to this day, I think I made 1 or 2 videos respectfully apologizing to Infinity Ward because, when you look at games like, COD World War II or some of the games that we've gotten before and whatnot, I can go as to say that Infinite Warfare is definitely not that bad, and I will even go as to say that Infinite Warfare, and if you're gonna hate on me for this, you can if you'd like. I've got no problem with that. But I will go as far as to say that Infinite Warfare is better than Advanced Warfare. Infinite Warfare is better than COD World War II, and Infinite Warfare is better than Ghosts. And I'll actually go say that Ghost could have been one of the top 3 Call of Duties on anybody's list, potentially, if they had just done a couple of things, because the connection and the hit detection was really smooth. It was a very traditional boots on the ground Call of Duty. They did a lot of things right, but the score streaks weren't quite as good. They needed to be buffed, but it just never happened. Let's see what else. Specialists. Everybody wanted the Modern Warfare 3 specialists, so. Support, a lot of people had a problem with support, the fact that it shouldn't have been in the game. Let's see what else. There was something else. But for the most part, the weapons and the way they did the perks and all that, you know, it was pretty solid. In terms of Call of Duty game, it was pretty solid. If they shrunk the maps a little bit, and if they had them be like more like traditional 3-lane maps, some of them were in Ghosts, which is good. But like Warhawk, for instance, Warhawk's a great map. But if there were just a couple little tweaks that they did with the design process with Ghosts, I mean, that could have easily been a top 3, especially coming after Black Ops 2. And that's another one of the reasons why Ghosts was hated so much by the community, is that Black Ops 2 was so good and did so many things right, and it improved upon the first Call of Duty. It improved upon the previous Black Ops so much that it became standard. And then all of a sudden when we got Ghosts, it all of a sudden wasn't quite up to our standard. And I guess in some ways it is, and at the same time isn't the developer's fault. I mean, sometimes developers don't know which way to go from all the things that we say, and you know, when it's their turn to make a game, they only have so much time, and they can't change their minds or adjust to what we say in the middle of production. So I mean, there's so many things in between. But the point I'm trying to make here is that hype itself, whether positive or negative, can either make a game more successful when it doesn't deserve to be, or it can make a game worse when it doesn't deserve to be. And you know, I will stand by it. And I mean, and I'll tell you why while I'm at it, and while you're watching this footage here, I will tell you why I like Infinite Warfare. In my opinion, Infinite Warfare's movement is a little bit smoother than Black Ops 3's movement. They're pretty much identical, but Infinite Warfare's is just a little bit smoother and a tad bit faster. I guess it's because it feels smoother, so that it feels faster. But Infinite Warfare's movement is much faster, and I don't know about you guys, but I personally love grinding for guns, and it sure as hell beats the supply drop system from Black Ops 3. You know, the fact that you can grind your ass off and unlock whatever gun you want, and the variants I thought were pretty clever in a sense, because sure, there were some variants which were ridiculous, ones that helped you aim even better, or that had 100% accuracy on some of the reticles or something like that. But for the most part, though, the guns that they had in Infinite Warfare, for the most part, there was a good variety. Each one of them could do something different. And if you go like, and in a sense, they even added specialists back in a sense, because once you go on a 3-kill streak, up to 9, with certain guns, depending on which variant you chose, you would get an extra perk of some kind, a random perk, which kind of reminds you of specialists in a sense. So they kind of tried to give us a throwback at the same time, and they were constantly updating the game. When the game was out, they were constantly updating it, constantly doing playlists, updates, more camos and all that kind of stuff. And again, the supply drop system, you know, although I'm not a big fan of supply drops, it certainly wasn't, you know, anything ridiculous like it was in Black Ops 3. And I think, respectfully speaking, we can all agree to that. The maps were definitely not that bad. You could play any kind of style that you wanted, which is a recipe and a necessary component for making a playable Call of Duty game. So you gotta accommodate every playstyle, not just one. But so when you look at it, there was plenty of variety to be had, and the variety in Infinite Warfare was pretty good, in my opinion. And I think the game is just a little overhated or negatively hyped, so to speak. So, and it ended up suffering, and that's why I'm kind of worried a little bit about the future of Infinity Ward games, because of everything, pretty much. I mean, if you think about it, it all makes sense. I mean, I would, you know, if I was them, I'd be worried too. It's like, you know, it's like, which direction should we take? Do they like this or do they like this? Or, you know, and they only have so much time to adjust and to make a game, and it's so hard for them to just change and do a 360 or a 180 in the middle of production. So, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of get that out there because I thought it was very interesting, especially since Thunder mentioned something like this in one of the tweets he had a little while back ago. I don't know if it was less than a week ago, I believe. So the thing is that ultimately, once we can't really hype a game, or even we can't diss or overhype a game until we get our hands on it ourselves, quite frankly. So, and history seems to be repeating itself again with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. Hopefully, it'll be the Modern Warfare 2 that we never got, which means no one-man army noob tubes and the game being patched up and all that kind of stuff. But it's still going to be cheesy and random, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of people that like that. But again, at the same time, Call of Duty, believe it or not, has evolved. And and I think we'd be taking a step back in a sense. But at the same time, some people will like it, some people might not, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. But the power of positive or negative hype, just the power of hype in general, is strong, as I explained in this video. So I'm out of time here. I could have easily gone another 10 minutes, but I didn't want to do that. But let me know down your opinions down in the comment section. What is your opinion? And if you think I'm absolutely crazy for liking Infinite Warfare, that's awesome. I love it. You know, that's your opinion. But that's just simply my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So, and as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I could do to make my videos better. And Thunder, thanks again for having me on. It was a pleasure. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.